What I will do is a recap while we wait for Bandy. I sent them a message, but we'll see. And because it's been a little while, get everyone kind of caught up to where we were and what had happened and where you find yourselves at the moment. So the last time we played, Harm and Max had returned to the Bishop Gambit, and they learned a couple things upon reattaching. Number one, they had just turned over the artifacts to scoundrels and thieves of the universe. And thinking it was Nakitomi, they unfortunately turned it over with barely even looking into the satchel to see if they even got paid, because they were in a rush to get back to the Bishop Gambit and see how Dr. Rizal and Oni were doing with their problem. They learned, number two, that the artifacts also contained the alien eggs, and now the alien eggs are into the wild of the habitated space. Mother is gleefully inside Android Max, and even if he tries to prevent her glow from showing, he can feel it. Lastly, that Dr. Rizal is dead, and Oni is infected by Dr. Rizal's bioweapon and the work of his life. Because they turned over the artifacts to thieves, the Nakatomi ship had actually dropped into space out of hyperspace just as the other ship exited, and they had a meeting with Nakatomi and an old spacer named Zachariah West, who essentially told them they have 6 months to return and recover Nakatomi's property that they had eventually obviously lost, or they would become hunted and put on the boards for cash. At this point, they needed repairs, they were low on fuel, they had a number of problems, and so they traveled to Siesta 3 station. Siesta 3 station is a GreenStar refueling station, essentially, that has been taken over and is somewhat of a commune for pirates, artists, hackers, teamsters, and is no longer under GreenStar Corporation's control. They landed at the station, decided to put the Bishop's Gambit into dry dock for upgrades and repairs because they did get paid. They had 50 million credits in the satchel. The thieves didn't give them a bag full of nothing, figuring that they would have looked into it before they actually turned over the artifacts. And so they put the Bishop's Gambit into dry dock. Oni decided to stay on the ship because he was, although in his incubation period, was still infected with Dr. Rizal's bioweapon, while Harm and Max went into the station with a number of plans, including what the heck's going on with the Bishop's Gambit, maybe how to get repairs and upgrades, and search for information perhaps about the pirates that they turned over the artifacts, and a number of other things. And as Harm and Max went through Praxis, which is the bar on the dock side before they entered the Siesta 3's main area, Harm recognized the leader or colonel or whoever knows, commander of the Black Op group that they had met at the comm relay station when they had run out of fuel. And Dr. Rizal, that's where he got infected. They had traded Dr. Rizal's bioweapon for fuel cells to this Black Ops group, and that Black Ops group stated they were going someplace which was unlikely, but that you didn't see us and we didn't see you, and they left each other amicably. But Harm recognized the colonel or the commander or whoever he is sitting at the bar. He's dressed down in somewhat pristine teamster outfit. He clocks her, and Harm clocks him, and he clocks Harm, and they decide to keep transiting through the practice bar to go through biocheck and decon to enter the system proper, really. What happens as they go through the airlock is that the commander of that Black Ops group follows them through, and as the airlock closes, they hear gunshots. in the practice bar. And as they get patted down and enter through the airlock into the Siesta 3's main area, they see the commander paying off the bioweapon, the biologic check attendance in order to process through. At the same time, Oni is on the Bishop's Gambit, and he sees a group of outfitted figures racing towards the praxis bar. They have weapons, black suits, helmets, and he follows them in. At first, he goes to one airlock and hears gunshots, so he decides to go to the other airlock because there's two airlocks in the praxis bar. And he stumbles through the airlock. He has a frag grenade in his hand, and he meets this mercenary group that has taken over the praxis bar. And that's where we left it. Anyone have any questions or additions?
I think good.
Good. So what we'll do, since Bandy isn't quite here yet, is we will start with Harm and Max. Harm and Max, you come through the airlock through biocheck and containment decon station to the main of Siesta 3. You probably hear maybe a trailing or a subtle pop of automatic weapons that fades from the praxis bar behind you. And as you exit the airlock, the commander is pulling the airlock door closed. You see on the wall in front of you a signpost of nature painted on the wall of the corridor. The corridor is a T intersection, one going right and left going, one corridor going left. And you see this signage. The man, he's old, kind of got maybe half a day of stubble on him, wearing pristine teamster outfit, which is pretty odd to be so well pressed. He's just over average height, but pretty broad, got a chiseled jaw, and he looks up at the signage, and Harm realizes that he doesn't really need to look for directions. He obviously knows exactly what direction he needs to go, but he's just kind of looking up at the signage. And he looks over at you and he says, "You don't know me and I don't know you. We have an understanding."
Yes, we have an understanding.
He kind of barely looking at Android Max, but his eyes are on Harm because he knows Harm's a Marine. They talked about the unit Harm is in when they turned over Dr. Rizal's bioweapon. He just kind of tilts his head a little bit. It's just a really small movement as he's waiting for Harm to acknowledge what he said.
I don't know you and you don't know me. Why do you feel the need to ask?
He shakes his head. He goes, "I'm going to the bar. Roentgesendat." He points to that at the sign is in the sign for Roentgesendat, which is a bar to the left, to get some drinks. He kind of looks at the sign and kind of smiles and shakes his head. And that's a good name for a bar. Strangers are safest not sticking their noses in other strangers' business. I assume you have other places to be. That's where I will be. And he doesn't really wait for you to respond, and he kind of turns and walks left down the corridor. You're standing there and you see the signage at this T intersection, and leftward there's this written in kind of broad, bright paint is Roentgen is that, which is the bar, black sky, and underneath it in this scrawled little tinier script says, "Come dream in coded bliss," and then Hydra Hut, live better. And then to the left, it says Omega Church, all to the unlimited mind. As Harm and Max are standing there, what do you all do? Or what's your plan?
I think the plan was to find the medical bay, wasn't it? To get the whatever Oni needed to help make a cure. And then the AI. I forget the AI's name. It's been 2 weeks, and I'm just
Mr. Tim.
Mr. Tim wanted to go. He wanted someone to take him to the church,
Yeah.
and like I said, I think at this point, Max is kind of licking his wounds on all of his previous failures. So he's just trying to like we were talking about last session. He's got just a list of things, and he's just trying to just knock them down as quick as possible and just get out of here. So the gunfire and all that behind the other door, he's just like putting it as far out of his mind as he can and just adding that to tomorrow's list of problems.
What does Harm think?
I'm trying to think, I'm trying to word this. Is the med bay in the same direction as the
You're not quite sure.
church, or okay?
There's nothing that
Um,
says med bay. All you got are these kind of directions to roll in. Again, is that which which is the bar on this level. Black sky, which seems like if it says "come dream" and coded bliss, it's probably like a hacker station, or they hook you up and feed you alternate reality kind of dream sense. And Hydro Hut, which just says live better, which is the closest maybe you have perhaps to.
Max is going to go to the Hydra Hut and then probably go to the church, I think.
Right. So those three are off to the left, and Omega Church is off to the right. And they may connect around. Like, you're in this section. I'll show you the picture of kind of schematic of the Siesta 3. And so you docked at the docking station, which is that kind of 010203 section. And you're in this main section that says GreenStar on that section. So it may be kind of more circular, but there's kind of a left and right area. Those are the only directions. You don't really have anything that says med bay. So Max, you would perhaps go to the Hydro Hut or consider the Hydro Hut as a stop.
I'm gonna look at Harm and say, the Hydro Hut may be our best chance for getting in any kind of meds for Oni. We cannot stand to lose another crew member, and I think that needs to be the more pressing issue.
understood. I guess I'll just try to keep pace then. I guess.
Okay. You kind of see, as you turn left to go down the corridor, right, a few 10, 15 steps down the left corridor, you see that the walls of the corridor are tagged, by a lot of graffiti, and that stuff. You immediately see this sign, graffiti, pop up as you're going left, and you see other graffiti, but that kind of pops out at you as you go. You kind of continue left through the corridor. It kind of takes a right-hand turn, because you're in this kind of square, and you see directions, arrows painted of where to go, and it just says RH, and you're going to this capsule hotel, really this capsule module, which is that kind of long, thin section off of the GreenStar or off Siesta 3 that you see on the left, this capsule kind of hotel. And it's a corridor-shaped kind of docking route. It's a bulky kind of ugly module that has a number of different detachable HAB capsules that are kind of stringed together. That used to be for 2 or 3 stationers would kind of occupy those HAB capsules. And some of those HAB capsules are occupied by those who live on the station, but the other capsules are occupied by the bar, the Hydro Hut, and the other thing that says Black Sky's Den, which is where the coding or dreaming live better by dreams is. You kind of turn into that capsule module and you see the commander walk into the bar. It's kind of got lights and you hear a little bit of music bleeding through there. There's a number of people around, but he walks into the bar. Black Sky, or the Hacker Dream Station, is a little bit off, maybe 3 or 4 hab capsules down, but all the way at the end of the capsule container, you see the scrawl of Hydro Hut written. As you pass the bar, again, is that, do you do anything specific or just keep on your way?
I'm just head down, keeping on my way.
Okay.
Max is a man on a mission. He's, like I said, he's feeling pretty hard on himself right now.
Right, because he
Everything
gave
is
over the
through failure.
artifacts. He lost the eggs.
Yeah.
Harm, as you walk past the bar and Black Sky, you can't really see into the Black Sky kind of hacker dreamer den. You walk by the bar. It's got a single kind of door that's open for the hab station. You can hear the thump of music kind of out and a little bit of neon lights. You see the commander walk in there. He doesn't turn around at all to watch you, even though you're kind of following him into the same area. Does Harm do anything specific?
Nope, he does not want to mess with him any more than he has to. He's just gonna keep walking. Like,
Okay. So you walk to the Hydro Hut. You immediately kind of smell humidity. And you kind of walk into this Hydro Hut through this single doorway, Max and Harm, and the humidity hits you right away. The hab capsule is kind of pictured like that, and it is crammed full of teetering hydroponic racks growing a variety of herbal things that spill out of a number of different substances. There looks like there's a hammock hung from the ceiling, constructed out of some sort of parachute fabric, and there's snoring coming from the hammock that's laid up top. What do you all do as you enter?
Max is going to kind of enter and look around and notice that there's no one stirring or nothing happening, and just kind of let out like a moderately loud, like, hello?
You see this kind of disheveled man. He's got like balding on the top, but these really long hair on the sides. Like he's just growing everything on the side because he can't have it on the top. It's just really long on the sides. And on the back, he's got like a hand-rolled cigarette that is wafting this kind of bluish smoke up above him. And he peeks over the hammock and he goes, "Are you looking for some herbal stuff? I'm Dr. Addis." He's kind of got this neon orange shirt on and a black bandana tied around his neck under his lengthy long hair, and maybe a little beads in it. His fashion sense is terrible. He seems jittery. He like rolls out of his hammock and the hammock almost rolls out and he lands on the ground and pops back up. "What? I haven't done that in a long time. Trust me. What has brought you to the Hydro Hut? I'm Dr. Addis. Everything here I grow and make and formulate."
So you are a doctor, yes?
Of course. I don't have my diploma on the wall, but who keeps that sort of thing? It's just paper.
Well, maybe you would be able to help me with some supplies.
Well, what were you looking for? Android? He kind of puts out his hand. "I'm Dr. Addis."
Max will kind of like take a glance back, like, because nobody's ever tried to shake Max's hand before. And Max will kind of slowly ease his hand out and kind of lock arms or hands with him, not really sure what to do next.
He shakes it all over the place. His hand is wet and kind of slimy and shakes it all over until it slips out. He goes, "Oh," and he grabs your hand. He starts wiping it on his shirt. "Here, I'll fix that for you. Max, what would an android need with, well, maybe you need it, sir. What's your name?"
I'm Harm, And Max, beware that is a somewhat atypical handshake, to put it mildly.
Harm, are you a Marine by chance?
Correct, sir.
Oh, well, I give you a small sniff of something for free for your service.
Much appreciated.
Well, what would you like? Would you like blue leaf, kleck, engengrau, or wheatstone? You just gotta stick it up underneath one of your lips right here and leave it hang out for a while until it soaks in.
While I debate that, Max, do you think any of these might be of use to Oni?
Max will kind of lean over to Harm and like, I don't know. He's got a very unusual charm about him.
He does, but I also feel as if Oni might appreciate his more natural medicinal remedies as well.
Dr. Addis's head is going back and forth from you. Who's this Oni? What are you looking for? Is he in trouble? Is he hurt?
He is in trouble, but he is not hurt as we know of currently. When we left the ship, he was tending to his studies.
Well, maybe he needs some blue leaf then. If he's under a lot of stress, it'll reinvigorate him. It's mildly addictive, and you develop tolerance quickly if you use it too often, but it is greatly helpful. Much better than smoking a cigarette or, drinking too much alcohol. You should use it sparingly. I mean, if your teeth start to turn blue, you're probably using it too much.
We shall keep that in mind.
Would you have any... I'm assuming everything here is natural or organic.
Of course, I use all the best products.
So,
And
what would you
water.
know about maybe something biological?
You mean not like you?
No, not like me at all.
Well, most of the stuff I make is biological. He
What
looks
about
at the hydroponics.
How would you... If something was infected by something that was biological, how would you cure it?
Oh, I'd have to take it back and put it on the surgery station. Do lots of samples. Put the automated computer. That's where they bring teamsters have broken their arms or people with appendicitis. Appendicitis will kill you. Sometimes the automated surgery will even work for wisdom teeth, but that's kind of iffy because you got to keep your mouth open a really long time. But I got a surgical suite right next here behind all of my fantastic greenery, but surely you'd want to go more natural.
Well, we may not have the time to go all natural, and with that being said, how would you feel if we were maybe worked a deal where maybe one of our crew members could use your surgical suite to synthesize a cure?
Like you do a favor for me and I do a favor for you?
Well, my favor to you would be creds, but...
Oh, I have a favor you could do for me, though. Better than credits. Would you be interested in an even trade? It sounds like your friend Oni's in trouble. Life trouble.
If it can... Whatever your favor is can be done in an expedient time, then maybe we can work something out if it's not too exuberant.
Well, kind of looks at Harm. Service is service, and well, as it is, I'm worried about my lover. Maybe you could retrieve her for me? An even trade? She's not far. She's just in the Hope system. He kind of looks at Harm. What do you say, Marine? I mean, surely you're travelers, and I don't know what kind of ship you're on, but obviously it seems it's your own, and you have places to be. You just swing by the Hope system and, perhaps make sure she's all right. Return her to me. Probably in trouble. I haven't heard from her in weeks. And then this Oni person can use my surgical suite to his heart's desire.
We have comm. Well, no, we were having problems with the comms, weren't we?
Yeah, they kind of got shut off. You've tapped on your communicator and there's a lot of static, and Android Max would know that that's not supposed to be that way, that it's being jammed by
Would
something.
we have a general, since we've been traveling a little bit, would we have a general idea how many days it would take us to get to Hope? Or no?
I don't think so, unless you
Had been
know
there
it's close.
previously.
Hyperspace jump, it's probably less than a week or 10 days. You're not exactly sure. It's not that far. It's not on the other side. It's not a long jump. It's not a multi drop jump where you'd be in and out of hyperspace. Max is probably almost positive it's a single in and out.
Little jump.
Yeah.
What if we gave you some creds now? You let our crewmate use your circle suite, because I fear he may not have the time to make it to Hope. But you have my word that we will go check first thing when we leave this station.
Okay. He goes, well, I guess that's good enough. And he pulls out this wooden box and flicks it open and grabs 2 joints and says, let's seal the deal then.
I do have a favor to ask of you as well. We can give you credits for this in addition as well, but I would like to have my shoulder looked at and potentially fixed. It is in place, still a bit of an injury though.
Oh, I could do that too. Well, I mean, perhaps you're retrieving Oni. You know, after we seal the deal and smoke our way into agreement.
Much appreciated, Doctor.
He gives Harm a cigarette. It's about this big. It's short and fat. He's got the same one. It's curling blue smoke. He goes, Android Max, it'll do you some good, even if you're not exactly biologic. Trust me, it's my own favorite blend.
What would happen to me if I smoked this not being human?
It'll make you loose and light and take away stress.
Max kind of tilts his head, and he's thinking about, well, I mean, he drinks alcohol and it has no effect on him, so
Okay.
why not? As a form of just to de-stress and maybe think a little bit.
He produces this little orange big lighter, like from his pocket, and lights you all up, and you're kind of 3 of you are in this triangle, smoking his blue hash, and sealing the deal. And we will go to Bass. Is it Bass or Boss?
Boss.
Boss.
Or actually, I think Bass. Basilio? Yeah, Bass.
Yes. So, Basilio, why don't you describe what Basilio looks like? I'll put a picture of Basilio up and describe kind of who he is for everyone.
So, Basilio mechanically is a teamster. He is skilled in mechanical repair, industrial equipment. He was born on this station.
Oh,
Is it a station?
everyone. Yeah.
Huh?
Siesta
Yeah.
3.
Siesta 3. So, yeah, like this is his home location. The way he looks at the moment is disheveled and greasy. Where are we putting him in? Just real quick.
Boss is down in the lower section in the distillery. This distillery has been created in the power station floor. It's in the lower section of Siesta 3, the power floor. It's been assembled from spare parts and gadgets and a haphazard collection of metal tables and shelving. It smells sharp, and tangy like metal and rust. If you look at the schematic of Siesta 3, it's this bottom portion, the very bottom portion, that's the engineering module, and a ladder well and a lift reach that from the main section, and the distillery takes up kind of the central main part of the power, where the power floor used to be. And Boss is sitting at the bar of the distillery as we open.
Okay. Can we have him kind of like? Can I take the camera and kind of like introduce him that way?
Yeah.
So the camera kind of pans towards Basilio. He is sitting at a table, gambling with his fellow teamsters. When you look up on Basilio, you zoom in on his face, greasy with sweat and oil, wearing heavy tinted glasses in a dark space. Basilio is in his loungewear of all things, armed in a robe, no t-shirt, open chest, with a gold necklace with big letters of HMFIC, which stands for head motherfucker in charge. Now, whether that is due to his skill or ego, I will let the dice decide. And he takes a long swig of his now 8th can of beer and continues playing cards. So that's how I'll introduce him.
the distillery makes its own drinks. It's known for pretty strong drinks as opposed to the Praxis bar, which is a little bit watered down because those are spacers who aren't coming into the main section of Siesta 3, or even the mid-level bar Roland and Gezendat, which has good drinks, but Quandra, doesn't necessarily make them that potent, causes her too much trouble, and she doesn't really like that much trouble. And so the distillery makes 3 types of drinks at the moment. They make a beer called Oil, and it is so thick that you pour it from about 3 feet above your glass, and it hits your glass like lead. It's so dark, it sucks in all the light, and it fills up to the top, and it just leaves this little layer of white. There's so thick and fat that it can't form a head by itself. And then there's a beer called Long Break, and it's thinner. It's probably an amber color, but that's what you drink when you want to make it through a weekend or 3 days off, as opposed to hitting it hard and not being able to remember what the heck happened. And then the third drink is called Cleaner. It's a flat out grain alcohol that has this smoky color, and it's death in a glass. Sometimes they use Cleaner to sterilize certain e-probes before they use them in a space. So there's 3 types of drinks. What's Boss drinking at the moment? Oil, Long Break, Cleaner?
So Boss has a 6-pack of the Cleaner, but that's not what he's drinking. He's always walking around with it.
Yeah, Cleaner
along with his crowbar.
Cleaner
because
comes
it's
in. Go ahead.
Yeah, because it's a Monday. He's drinking the second one. What was it? Not Oil.
Long Break.
Long Break. Effectively, he's a functional alcoholic.
All right. Cleaner comes in like reclaimed water bottles, to clear stuff.
Yeah.
So as he's sitting at the table, a stocky, crew-cut teamster known as Sura, who's not the second in command, but she's well connected to the Roughnecks, which are what the Teamsters call themselves, and the Roughneck leadership, which is Jirth. And so she's kind of Jirth's second or third in command. She's this stocky, short woman with a crew cut and kind of chiseled features, and she kind of crashes into the table, and she looks at everyone else, and your gambling buddies immediately collect their winnings and stand up and leave. And she yells over at Wen, the bartender, "Bring me some Cleaner, Wen." And then she looks at you and she realizes that you're supposedly drinking Cleaner, that maybe you've supplemented Long Break in on the sly, or?
Yeah, so Cleaner he has as a 6-pack. He's saving that.
Oh, okay. It's
for later.
Underneath
but he's
the
been
chair.
drinking like Long Break because it is a work day.
So when comes over, he's a big man with kind of pot belly. He's wearing just suspenders and the bottom half of like a Teamster outfit. He comes over and he kind of looks at Sura and he puts down a shot glass, and she goes, "Wen, hit me." So he pours in some Cleaner in the shot glass, and she tosses it back, and she goes, "Again." And he does it again. She goes, "Now." And he does it again. And then he's going to pour her a fourth one. And she puts her hand on the glass and looks up at him because she hasn't told him to do anything. And she glares at them. Sura glares at him. And she goes, "Go away, Wen." And she's kind of sitting there next to you because your compatriots have left, boss. And she's staring into this tiny shot glass of what had cleaner in it. And she puts her finger in it. And she goes, "Fuck, fuck, fuck." Quiets down a little bit. And then she realizes you're sitting there. And she goes, "What the fuck are you doing here, Bass?"
So, as you know, she's like pounding these drinks. Basswood was kind of like laying back on his chair, take a long drag while she's doing that out of his cigarette. And then as she responds to him, "What's her name? Sora?"
Sura. Yeah, I'll put it in.
Sura?
I'll put it in chat. It's
Okay.
TSURA.
So he's basically waiting for her to be like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" kind of shit. So when he asked him, like, "Come on, Sora, like, the game was just getting good, and you come in here and interrupt it. Obviously, are you here to play, or you got a job for me?" Because, and he points to his, necklace. Because I'm obviously the only motherfucker here who can do it.
She looks at you and you look at her face, and most of the time Sura is like quiet but edge. Like everyone walks around her like she's this firecracker of a teamster. And she kind of looks at you, Bass, and she looks down at your patch, and you see something uncommon in her eyes. There's this little flicker of fear, perhaps. And she looks at you and she goes, "You really mean that, Bass? You need a job to do?"
It is a Monday, and he
Yep.
takes a swig.
She looks at you and she goes, "Mondays are a good day to save the station, don't you think?"
Same shit, different day.
She looks over, she yells at Wen, "Wen, bring the bottle of cleaner in another glass. We're gonna need it."
On her tab.
She kind of looks at you.
What? You got a job for me? You gonna cheap out on me, Sora?
You look over at Wen as he collects his bottle. I will show you a picture of kind of what the distillery looks like back in the bottom.
Yep. That's kind of how I had it in my head.
Right. It's this. Now you look back at Wen as he's collecting behind the bar. You could see him like shake his head and maybe sigh a bit because he grabs another bottle of cleaner. And above the bar, like behind the glasses, really, you see essentially the Teamster model, because they're involved in fighting against the corporations, really. And they fund units to fight the good fight against the Constellation. And Wen comes over with the bottle of cleaner, and he puts down the extra shot gas and kind of slides it towards you and raises his eyebrow. And he goes, and Sura goes, "3 shots." And Wen goes, "Sura, you've already had 3. "Yes, I know. We need 3 more, and then we got to get to work. You ready, Bass?"
He's already drinking one.
Like,
Yeah, you need to catch up.
so make I think it would be body save. Make a body save as you drink these 3 shots of cleaner.
Cleaner.
Sura, right? Okay. So mechanically, the way that will work
Nice.
is that you will take disadvantage to intellect checks.
Okay.
You've only had 3 shots, but you've been drinking for a while. But you're going to take disadvantage for intellect checks as you do that. If you have any stress, though, you can bottom that out to your minimum stress. You don't get stress for that roll because you were drinking. And Sura kicks off away from the table and looks at you. Now, she's much shorter than you, and she goes, "You ready, Bass?"
Let's fucking kick it.
Right. She walks past the bar. She puts the cleaner bottle back on the bar and winks at Wen, and then proceeds to the stairwell. She looks at you and goes, we can't take the lift."
Is that broken too?
"No, but I had beans yesterday, and I don't know if you survive up to the extra level.
Yeah, I
She
agree.
goes, she goes up. You go up
I've
the
heard
ladder,
stories before.
right? You go up the ladder well, and Sura puts you. You're going up the ladder well, going up the ladder well. You see a number of tags and graffiti all through the ladder well because you know you're going up to the middle section of Siesta 3. And she puts her hand on the door handle, or the it's a really thick door that leads in. It's not an airlock. And you see her sigh, and she goes, Bass, I really fucked up. We either do this or everyone dies.
What the fuck are we talking about again?
Well, I have this schematic to the bomb. You know, the bomb. I was fiddling with it, seeing if the schematic would work, and I turned the valve the wrong way, and now it's leaking pressure. Boss would know that the bomb is what's called the virus bomb. The virus bomb is something the GreenStar Corporation has preloaded into the Siesta 3 station in case they ever lose control of it, or they just don't want to pay. You know, they could set off the virus bomb. It genetically causes everyone's inside to turn to liquid, and you know, they clean out the station and repopulate it with newbie people. The virus bomb is like this ticking danger on the Siesta 3 because it's been taken over by this pirate hacker teamster organization. And although GreenStar may know that it's no longer under the control, you know, corporate paperwork takes a really long time to go up through the thing. And no one's supposed to mess with the bomb, because if they mess with it and set it off, it's really bad. And that's what Sura has done. She's messed with the bomb, and she needs Bass to help her fix it.
Okay, just from my knowledge, is she like supposed to be messing with the bomb?
Not really.
Like, okay.
She's
So
a
it was just-
teamster, though.
Yeah. Okay. So this is like, so he doesn't know that he's supposed that she was messing with it. Like,
No, she has like this private schematic that she's been working on to try to fix the bomb so that its danger is no longer hovering over everyone's head at Siesta Station. She is a teamster. She's trying to do what's right and fix shit Bass would get, but she's erred and made an error in her calculations.
and so Bass is kind of just like looking at her and, you know, shaking his head. He's like, you know, I don't even want to know. Let's just fucking fix this shit. And he kind of like, you know, rolls up. Let me take a look at it. Rolls up his sleeves, and he like tries to take a look at whatever the fuck has been going on.
Yeah, you're not at the bomb yet.
Oh, okay.
You're going to exit into the middle module of Siesta 3.
Yeah, because in my mind, like, I guess these two like known each other for a while.
If you grew up there, you would know
Yeah.
Sura is like second or third in command of the Teamsters. She would
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
know you. You're, you know, mostly
Yeah.
inebriated, and you talk a bunch of trash and think you're in charge, but maybe
There's
you
like some kind
are,
of like,
but not.
you know, kind of like belonging or a group, like partnership or whatever with all the Teamsters there, I guess.
Yeah, all the Teamsters' goal is they want to keep the station free of snitches and bootlickers, and to galvanize others into violent anti-corporate action. They want to sabotage big corporations who are essentially in charge of everything. And they're against the Roughnecks. The Roughnecks are the kind of self-imposed security of the station. But my fault. The Roughnecks are the Teamsters. They're the ones who want to help off-station unionists, like the Rim Space Liberation Front agitators, who are also against corporations. But they don't like people prying into personal details. They don't like condescension to blue-collar workers. And although they drink a lot in distillery, they don't drink on the work floor.
Okay.
and they don't like Nichols people, which are the self-appointed cops of the station, and they want to keep Nichols people from infiltrating or messing with the virus bomb, because then the guns will come out.
Okay.
Nichols people and the Roughnecks are loosely in line with their ideas against corporations, but Nichols people go for aggressive sabotage, and the Roughnecks or Teamsters help off-station unionists, or what's called the Rim Space Liberation Front agitators, for equal pay, equal rights, equal living, that sort of thing.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
You think you're up to it, boss?
Of course. Anything to help a fellow sister in these times?
She looks at you, and then she looks up at the graffiti on the wall, and she taps at "Live Fast, Die Young."
He takes a long draw of his cigarette down to like the butt now and flicks it at the poster. It's like, gonna go out sooner or later.
Damn sure we are. And she opens the door to the main section. We'll go back to Max and Harm. You're in the hydro hut. It probably doesn't take that long for you to smoke through the herbal remedy that Dr. Addis has given you. You can roll 2d10 for having partaked in Captain Addis's blue leaf and remove that many stress. So Max, you relieve 16 stress.
Wow, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, that brings me completely down. I was at 14, so that was. But you always have to have a minimum of 2, right? Yeah.
And Harm, you decrease your stress by 7. You feel jittery though, and each of you make a body save.
I knew there was a catch. There's always a catch. I don't even know why I closed my character sheet.
In this situation, could I add wilderness survival, or would that not apply? Because it's technically...
You're a Marine. I would probably let you add wilderness survival or military training.
One or the other, I'm assuming, right?
I don't give Max.
No, that's fine.
Now, the question would be, Harm, have you used biologics for ability accentuation?
I'm going to go ahead and say yes.
Okay,
but
then you can use them.
Somewhat sparingly.
Okay, Max fails with a 67. So you can make your body save with that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, success. So, Harm, you can do one of two things. You, at least probably for this whole session, because it wears off in hours, blue leaf will last, let's see, in your system. Oh, it lasts an hour. Okay, we're saying it lasts 2 hours. You could take advantage to speed or strength checks.
Okay, cool.
Max, it just hits you like a truck or like an airlock. You don't think it's going to hit you, but whatever happens, your whole neurologic, electral processors are just jangling. And for the same amount of time, you will take disadvantage at speed checks for about 2 hours. So you finish smoking the blue leaf. It relieves a lot of stress, but it has some residual effects on Harm and Max. Some good, some bad. And Dr. Addis takes a deep breath. Doesn't that feel much better?
I don't know. And he's just kind of like looking at the ceilings and everything.
He slaps you on the shoulder and he goes, "That's all right, Andrew and Max. What do we do now? Are you going to get your friend Oni?"
Yes, Oni. But could you take a look at Harm's shoulder?
Oh, yes. He pulls the arm over and goes, "Well, take off your shirt. It's not like I haven't seen it before."
And I think at this point, Max is going to start like wandering off. And he's going to try to maybe wander towards the church while that's happening.
Oh, you're going to wander through the
Yeah.
back the
He's
other
just
direction.
going to wander, kind of just like looking at everything.
Okay.
and in a very slow fashion.
Harm will probably call out to him as he leaves. Try, if you have the ability, try to take pictures for Mr. Tim.
Oh, yes, Mr. Tim, the AI. Yes, I will take plenty of pictures.
Okay. So as he's working, Dr. Addis is going to work on Harm's shoulder, drag him back towards, his surgical suite, which is tucked around the corner. Harm.
As he's just walking there, he's just gonna like shake his head and just be like, "I'm gonna have to find him and babysit him for the next 2 hours."
Dr. Addis goes, well, we were all there at one point. Don't worry about it. He'll be fine. He takes you around as Max kind of wanders out into the hallway, going to track back towards the beginning, or, try to make his way back towards the Omega Church. And he opens up like this tiny little cupboard door, and you see this conduit, and he goes, now, don't be telling everyone, but we got to go through this connection here to the hab station next to us. And there's my surgical suite. It's all blocked off from the inside.
All right.
What's wrong with your shoulder?
Okay, out of character, it was dislocated, right?
Yeah,
If
you,
you're remembering that correctly.
Tore some tendons, that sort of stuff.
Okay. So basically, I'll just be like, yeah, it was dislocated. I think I tore a couple tendons. Basically, it got messed up.
Oh, can you put it over your head? No.
I'm trying to remember, can I?
Can you do small circles? Oh, that looks terrible. Well, come on, I'll help you out. He drags you through this like narrow passageway, and you come out into this, what looks like pristine surgical suite. Like it's clean down to clean. There's no dust everywhere. There's a table at front. There's an automated arm. You can tell that the door has been kind of welded shut that leads out into the hab capsule itself, or the main hallway that connects. It's the same sort of size that Dr. Addis's hydro hut is, but it's kind of in this like little secret space that he controls. And he goes, well, lay up on the table there. We're getting it all fixed up. And he goes and gets this like big 20cc syringe and a needle that's 3.5 inches long, and sticks it in and starts pulling up. Well, get ready. It won't hurt that much.
Even if it does, I'm used to it. It's fine.
Okay. We're just inject some collagen and pain relievers, and it will heal those tendons. All right. You ready?
Better now than late.
All right.
Oh.
We'll take a deep breath on a count of 3. 1, and he jabs the needle in and pushes the plunger. Max, make a body save. Not Max. Harm, make a body save. You could probably add military training to it. See how effective it is. All right. So it does heal you, but it's going to take, a couple days. You take stress mainly from the shot, and he's digging around in there with the thing in multiple different spots because the shoulder is just hanging there. It's not a real joint, so he has to go anterior and posterior and underneath your armpit and through the top of your neck. And he looks at you and goes, well, that should make you good in a couple days. Anything else you want me to stick? He cut his needle out. Anything else hurt?
I think I think that was it, but thank you, Dr. Addis.
You're welcome. Always good to have a patient that doesn't complain. Max, you go down the hallway and you're going to transit towards the Omega Church?
Yeah.
Okay. You get to where the airlock going to the decon or the biocheck station is, right? And you hear gunfire again, but it's much closer. Just 2 bursts of gunfire just on the other side of the airlock door. What does Max do?
I think in his altered state, he would just kind of be like, "What was that?" And kind of look at the airlock door, and just kind of be like, "Station rats?" And then maybe kind of ease up towards the door. because now I guess he's feeling like paranoid, so he'd kind of like try to peek through the airlock door.
Yeah, the airlock door doesn't have a window, but as he gets close to it, the mechanism turns, and the red light goes boop, green, and the airlock door goes and starts to open.
Max is immediately gonna back up a little bit and be wide-eyed.
Okay. So you're in this small corridor at a T section. The airlock door is, at the leg of the T, starts to open up. Max, you back up by a couple steps, and you see a figure first step through. First, you see the front end of his automatic weapon. It's all blackened out, and then his boot and the rest of his body wearing a helmet with a opaque visor. He's all dressed in black. It comes through the airlock door and then immediately swivels towards you. What does Max do?
Max is immediately going to throw his hands up and just wait.
You hear a bit of chatter, probably through the comms on the inside of his helmet. You can't really see what he says, and the figure just points down at the ground, and you hear a kind of metallic voice say, "On your belly, arms on your waist, legs together. Quickly now, I don't have time." And he steps through, another one steps through, they kind of fan out. 3 of them got their guns pointed at you. He's motioning you down to your belly. What does Max do?
Max is gonna kind of look at him and go, "Are you real? You're not real. The station was just fine 20 minutes ago. Who are you?"
Then you hear, "Shoot him, Max. They're going to shoot you somehow." You can attempt to avoid it. This is what's generally kind of player-facing role. You have to do something to avoid it. If you fail, then the outcome becomes obvious. When you hear "shoot him," what does Max do?
Are there any kind of doors or anything?
No, you're in a T.
corridor, or is this just
You're in like a T hallway, but you're right here at the top of the T. There's a corridor leading right that goes to, well, now it's on your left because you're facing the mega chase. On the right is where you just came from.
gonna try to dodge to the left and then just drop down on the ground.
Okay, roll a speed check.
With disadvantage, right? For 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
68. Well, at least it wasn't a double. So you go to dodge and you move quickly as an android, and he shoots you through the right leg. As you try to dodge, he squeezes off, or the figure squeezes off and shoots you through the right leg. Let me roll damage for you. As you get shot through the leg and land on your belly on the ground, what does Max do?
As Max lands, he feels the bullet go through his leg, and he lays there and kind of looks at his leg and looks back at them and looks at his leg and looks back at them and is like, "Oh, so you are real." And then kind of conks out and leans against the wall and kind of whispers to himself, but loudly enough to where they can hear, as to maybe they'll just leave him alone. And he'll mutter, "Systems offline, rebooting for repair."
You say that out loud?
Yeah, just so they'll just be like, "Okay, well,
Okay. You take 17 damage.
oh, well, that's gonna knock me to
So what happens
anyway.
is you take 1 wound and then 11 more damage. So you get 1 wound and 11 damage.
yeah, that's gonna KO me anyway. I was only at 8.
Well, you have 3
Oh.
wounds, so you're not dead yet. So what happens is you roll those over, you go to 0, and then you subtract the other 7. So you go from 8 to 0 and then down to 5, and you take 1 wound.
Okay, so that'll put me at 10 or 7.
5. It'll put you at 5.
Oh, not 58. Excuse me.
And you can roll the gunshot wound, or I can roll. Where it is on roll tables at the top. You can see, chat, combat, and then there's this kind of roll tables. And under roll tables, you see gunshot wound. You can click on that and roll it, or I can roll it for you.
I just have loadouts, M1E, and then rollable tables. Here we go.
Yeah. Will it let you roll off the table?
I should. It's just big enough where I had to move it to be able to scroll down.
Oh, okay. I think it's a clean through and through shot. It goes through your lateral leg, but as it throws you into the ground, you fracture whatever Android Max has for rib architecture on that right. And it's not a bad injury, but it will put you at disadvantage for strength checks for a period of time.
So at this point, I'm at disadvantage for speed and strength.
So you actually say out loud in an androidish voice, "Systems down, rebooting."
Yeah.
All right. You have 2 of them hovered over you, and you hear one say, "Damn it, it's an android. Well, what do you think? It'll probably take a while for him to reboot. Just leave him here, tie him up." And they zip tie your ankles and wrists together behind your back, Max, and then scoot you into like a corner of the wall and kind of leave you there as your eyes are still open and they think you're rebooting. And you just hear them going back the way you came. Okay?
Max is going to feverishly try to put his chin on his comm, even though he knows it's not going to work, but just in a last-ditch effort to maybe try to get through to harm.
You wiggle there, like an inchworm, trying to do something, bleeding out like, white viscous fluid from your leg. You know that your chest wall is compromised. It hurts like hell for an android, regardless. And what are you thinking as you're laying there, aside from trying to get communications?
Max still being in his altered state of mind. Anything and everything. Panic, paranoia, confusion.
Okay.
Just a whole mix of emotions. And he knows that his comm is not going to work, but he's just feverishly just trying to just get something through.
Okay. We will return to Boss. You're there in the ladder well outside the door to the middle component of the Siesta 3 station. Sura looks up at you, Boss, and says, "All right then, buckle up. We got to get to Black Sky. He might have better schematics on the valve. And then we'll have to crawl through it to the bomb and hopefully disable it. You ready?"
Do I know who Black Sky is?
Yeah, Black Sky is the coder hacker friend of Quandra. He has a dream station. I don't know if Bass has ever partook in Black Sky's dreams that take you to a different place and make life better. Black Sky's den is kind of a hab compartment a couple of ways down from the bar called Rowan Genizdat, which you probably know. And the bar is run by a smallish, thin, center core young woman named Quandra, whose hair is dyed purple and she's tatted and has tattoos everywhere. And Black Sky, his only friend is Quandra. And you probably know the bar. It's a safer place to gamble because if you lose or get in trouble, it's not like the teamsters are going to beat you up with wrenches and take their due out. And so maybe Bass has gambled there before because it's more spacers, more people that have come into the hold to sleep off a long voyage, who've got enough cash to burn and not stay on their ship in the docking, but to actually make it through to the main part of the station. Does Bass frequently gamble there?
I wouldn't say frequently. I think Bass, being a resident of the station, and kind of going to all places to do repairs and odd jobs, I think he would have happened to gamble there from time to time. But that's not his regular. That's not his like home space. To him, it's like a different kind of money. It doesn't feel real. Like the bills may be a little bit too clean.
Oh.
The
Feels like he's
air,
slumming, even though it's
Yeah.
richer.
yeah, the air feels less hospitable to him. It was not, you're not like real. It's more artificial.
And does he owe Quandra money?
I don't know.
Or show you a picture of Quandra?
Let's roll. I don't know if he owes money.
Okay. It's reasonable to roll to see if you owe her money.
Yeah, was it 50-50? Top 50s, yes. No, I know.
Okay.
Maybe she owes me money.
Well, let's see. Does she owe you money?
Or a
Top 50
favor or
is
something.
yes. Oh yeah, she does. Oh no, she doesn't. You're
No, she doesn't.
equally unencumbered. You know her,
Yeah.
and she's somewhere from the core worlds. You're not exactly sure. She's not overly friendly in that sense, but she is very well liked, and her bar is, pretty happening place. You may not like it because maybe it's too glitzy,
Yeah.
too much, that sort of thing. She's thought to be maybe a core-born runaway, and she's somewhat of a poet, hacker, bartender, intricately tattooed. Some people say she never sleeps, and she has this kind of disarmingly intimate voice where she kind of pulls you into her circle if she's telling a story. So
What was her
you're
name
going-
again?
Quandra.
Quandra. Okay. I'm probably gonna need to write all these characters down because there's probably gonna be a lot of them. All right, cool.
So you're going to Black Sky.
Yeah.
Black Sky's den. Black Sky is a hacker, coder dream station, and his den is a couple habs down from Quandra's bar, the Rowan Genizdat, and it's illuminated by these black lights. It's filled with beeping computer terminals and frequent takeout trays from Rowan Genizdat. That's where he gets the most his food. And although he's a coder hacker, Bass would know that his reason for being is to create these art dreamscapes that you could settle into and forget about life altogether. And he's got like these barber chairs spaced out on his hab, and you can hook into them and do this kind of dream travel. And that's where you're headed to. Maybe he has some schematics because he's a hacker. Sura opens the door from the stairwell and steps out into the hab station, at the top of the hab station. And she walks out like 5 or 6 steps, and then she stops and she looks back at you. She's looking around. There's no one about. It's completely quiet. There's like even maybe a piece of paper blowing across the floor. And she goes, Bass, what the hell's going on? She takes a big breath and she puts her, don't breathe. The bomb is little.
Yeah. There's nobody in there?
Yeah, you look out at her. She's like holding her thing. She takes this deep breath in. You look out at through the hab station module corridor. You can see the bar Rowan Genizdat down there, and Black Sky is across the hall, and you can see light kind of spilling out from the doorway and this thump of music, but there's no one out there. And that's really odd, Bass, that you don't see a single person. It's pin drop quiet. And Sura immediately looks alarmed and clamps her hand across her face. and yells at you, "Don't breathe."
Okay, so how valid is that claim, right? So I'm thinking Bass would have known, like maybe alarms or something like in the past, because this is something that the corporations do to kind of cleanse the station, as you stated before. Surely there's like some, maybe a record or something that kind of, hey, warnings, or what happens to the bodies. Do they just plop? They don't just like disappear, right?
Right.
I think they would be dead. So in my mind, I'm thinking, like, because there's no bodies, and obviously the reason to release the gases would be to kill people. How likely is he to believe that the bomb did explode and that people are dying at this moment? I don't think so, right? I think it's
Yeah,
just
Bass,
empty.
you'd probably be standing there with your hand on the door. The
Uh-huh.
airlock hasn't been closed at the head of the passageway leading to the modular bays. The doorway to the stairwell hasn't been locked electronically. Nothing has been shut down. And Bass, maybe you would think that if the corporation had the virus bomb actually went off, it'd want to make sure that no one could escape.
Yeah, exactly, right.
And it would
Like
probably shut everything down.
they would want to ensure people would be dead. So, okay, with a little bit of that background, I think Bass would just stand there and just light up another fucking cigarette, take a long drag. It's like, are you done yet? Can we move on?
Shura's got her hands across her eyes, look at you as she kind of sprinkles down, gives you this mean look, and she goes, "Well, damn it," she says. She had her hands on her legs, and she goes, "Bass, what the hell's going on? It's way too quiet here. It's never this quiet in the middle section."
Yeah, I agree. Bass not being, well, actually, what could be this? Can I kind of like do a like rimwise? Like, is this an ambush? Is something going
If you
on?
want to roll rim-wise, I would let you roll intellect with rim-wise.
Okay. Is that disadvantage?
Yeah, because you still succeed. Oh, look at that. Oh, you would have had a critical success too. You still succeed. Maybe the cleaner hasn't really hit your whole system yet, because you've just come up the stairs and those 3 shots went down pretty quick. It really hasn't hit you yet, and maybe you have this reprieve. You're standing there and you light up a cigarette and you hear this from down the hallway, probably in the direction of the main airlock leading out to dock. It's not in your vicinity, but it's up around the corner to the right. You hear this short kind of staccato.
Yeah.
Which is essentially when Max is getting shot.
Okay.
Sura doesn't seem to hear it. She just got her hands on her upper thighs going, "I thought I was dead."
We will be dead if those bullet viruses come after us.
What bullet viruses? What are you talking about?
Just shut your pie hole for a second and listen. You hear that? And I wait for like any other bullets.
Yeah,
like there were shots. Okay, you had to trust me. I know what I heard.
Maybe you were hearing my heart. It was thumping there pretty wild when I thought the virus bomb went off. Come on, let's go talk to Black Sky.
Yeah. So being that I've been here before, do I know whereabouts he would be?
Black
and
Sky?
More importantly, do I know any side routes or passageways outside of the main path to getting there?
I would think you know about Dr. Addis's. I mean, your drug of choice is alcohol. So, Dr. Addis is also a doctor, and he does fix up teamsters, and broken legs, and suturing, and that. So I think most people would know about Dr. Addis's back room of surgical suites after he got through all the hydroponics, and offers of other biologic symptoms. A lot of the modules here, like Rowan Gezendet, Bar, Black Sky, Hydro Hut, Omega Church, they have these back conduits, like air conduits. And some of them are open and are used as passageways. I think since this isn't really Bass's home turf,
Yeah.
he probably doesn't necessarily know all those connections. He knows the connections in engineering, like the back of his hands, where to go, where the backroom games are, what fan rooms are games that are legit, what fan rooms you really don't want to mess with those games, that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
up in this middle section, it's not really your niche, perhaps. They're there, but maybe not exactly where.
Okay. So, talking to Sura, like, look, we had to find an alternate route to Black Sky.
She looks at you, she goes, but it's right there, across the hall.
But there are bullets flying. Sura, stay with me.
I didn't hear anything. It's like 10 feet away, 15 feet
All
away.
All right, then. You go that way. I'll go this way.
You just given up. God, I'm going to be the only person to help this station Siesta 3 and make sure the virus bomb doesn't go off.
As she kind of walks away, I'm like, all right, fuck, god damn it. Trust me. And I just have her look at me. I'm like, trust me. Bullets are flying that way. We'll go this way. We'll go to Black Sky.
Okay.
Because I don't want her. I did say just go ahead and go that way, but I'm like, I thought about it for a second. I'm like, I don't want her to die. It's gonna come back.
Yeah, you know that the bullets, or what you think were bullets, boss, which you didn't hear at all, are not in this section, but outside it, like around the corner, down the hallway. They were faint. You're almost positive they were bullets, but it's not in the capsule hotel module where the Black Sky Den, Hydro Hut, Rowan Genizdat bar is. You just hear them off in the kind of distance. It's probably in this middle level, but it's not anywhere near you specifically. You could get to Black Sky's Den without even coming close to where you heard it.
Oh, okay. Then we'll just, okay, fine. We'll just move along quickly then.
She looks at it, she goes, well, step adroitly. Adroitly. You know how to spell adroitly? What either way, step adroitly. Boss, and let's go see Black Sky.
Let's do it.
So you enter Black Sky's cube, or Black Sky's den. There's like barber chair kind of construction, or seated, that you can put these helmets on that are halfway like you're getting a perm. And there's like 3 or 4 of them in there, and there's lots of computers with blinking lights, and it's lit by black light and neon lights. And down at the very end is, Black Sky's kind of terminal that you see through there. Black Sky is fiddling around with some wires, and one of the chairs, and he looks up. He's somewhat thin. He wears like this black kind of robe with these blousy kind of purple pants, and it must be sewed with these kind of black light responsive threads, because it kind of glows and moves around when he looks at you. And he looks from around the chair and he goes, I'll be right with you. What dream do you want? Connecting to the thing.
Nightmares are dreams too, right?
Well,
Black
I got
Sky?
a few of those. If you want a nightmare, just let me know. You want an alien
shut up.
nightmare?
Shut up, Black
Oh.
Sky.
He looks up and he goes, oh, it's you, Bass and Sura. What do teamsters want? You guys don't like dreaming. He's come at terse, and he has this little thing on his mouth that auto-tunes his voice to a perfect E flat minor.
Yeah. So, yeah, we teamsters prefer to live in the reality. But hey, listen. Heard you have something that could be useful to us. And also, do you know that there's a section under let me rephrase this. Do you have cameras?
He goes, yeah, of course I have cameras. I keep track of everything. Not so much down in your spaces though, Bass. You guys get a little finicky about prying.
When was the
and
last time
prying
you
eyes.
checked them?
Well, I was working on my chair, one of my chairs. Someone had a bad dream. Start flailing about, pull the ladder. Why? Well, come on, let's go back and look at him. What are you worried about, anyways? You need some information on someone specific? You want me to hunt down someone? I can find them. Who is it? Father Cambrian at the Omega Church, or Omar? Maybe Cobal himself, but that's going to cause a lot. I don't really look up Nicole.
So, I think I heard something. Let's call it a hunch. Sura, why don't
What
you
do
go over
hunches
there to
sound like?
the sound like gunshots? Why don't you
Gunshots?
go over there? Yeah. Why don't you go over and check that monitor while me and Black Sky have a talk.
She looks at you. She goes, all right. I mean, I did have 6 shots of cleaner. She kind of lays up in one of the chairs and lays back a little bit. Let me know when you got the schematics, and we go, well, you know what we have to do. And she kind of winks at you because she doesn't want Black Sky to know that she's fiddled with the virus bomb.
Yeah. So basically, I'm hoping she finds the source of the gunshots.
You
while
want
we're
Black
having
Sky to
our
look through his cameras?
Yeah.
So,
No, well, is Black Sky a guy or a girl?
Black Sky is a guy. He has numerous implants, probably a periorbital ridge and a little poofy cheeks and a couple filed teeth.
Filed teeth. Interesting.
Yeah, he's got a lot of cosmetic implants that respond to his black light too.
So I think Bass would make comment of that. I'm like, come on, Black. You don't need all that stuff. You could just be yourself.
This is myself. What's wrong with myself?
This is what you wish
He goes, you've been drinking? Wow.
every day.
You smell like rubbing alcohol. Maybe you don't need to dream.
Nightmares are dreams too, right? Anyway, so while Sora's over there looking for my hunch, heard you got a schematic that would be interesting for me to peruse.
What are you looking for? He kind of goes, Sura, don't mess around. Just keep track of the monitor. She's looking up at the monitors. There's like a bank of them.
Yeah. So I'm kind of at a loss with how to describe this thing. Is this taboo to talk about out loud? Is this like or is this like a well-known
fiddling with the virus bomb? As a Teamster, you probably know within the Teamster range, and anyone who's long-term living on the station would think that fiddling with the virus bomb would be highly looked down on. But a pressure valve is perhaps found many places.
Okay, and our position is we don't want the virus bomb to be active, or are we trying to preserve it? I'm just trying to
You
understand.
want to keep it silent and not going off.
And currently it's on the trajectory to blow up.
Yeah. Well, Sura said it's bleeding pressure.
Okay, so I'm just gonna be out with it because I think it's to the benefit of everybody. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm gonna nickname this dude BS because I'm not calling him Black Sky. Listen, BS, I'm gonna be real with you. There is the virus bomb is on a trajectory that is not stable, and I need the schematics to stabilize it because we all want to keep dreaming, right?
Why is it not stable, Bass? You see Black Sky's tag, which is everywhere, tagged above on the wall that's, responsive to black light. He looks at you and goes, Basilio, what's wrong with the virus bomb?
Well, I don't know. BS. Like, why do you have to fix dreams? Like, this shit just breaks, man.
Oh, so you need it. What kind of valve is it?
It's a pressure valve.
All right.
I need the schematics.
He starts typing away. Give me a few minutes. It's leaking? Shit. Now stop calling me BS. My name's Black Sky. He's typing away. He's typing away, and then Sura goes, Bass. She's like tapping on one of the screens. Bass? We may have a problem, Bass.
One at a time, Sora. Oh, wait. This is that other problem. Yeah, what is it?
Well, I don't know. It looks like someone's dead. She's tapping on the screen. Oh. And there's these other people in black with guns. Dead. Black with... Shit, Bass. You better come look at this.
Yep. That dude's probably dead.
Yeah, you look up there and you you see who is Max,
Uh-huh.
like inchworming on the side of the wall, trying to get to his thing and trying to get out of his zip ties. You realize he's zip tied, but he's alive because he's bouncing around. You can almost tell probably that he is an android because the liquidness are all around him is pale. It's not blood, and you got color. And then you see these 6 black-clad figures moving quickly down the main hallway in your section, and then ducking in to the Roend Genizdat bar.
Where we just
Shortly
came
after
from.
that, you
Yeah.
hear,
Well, my hunch was correct. See, Sora, where was the trust, man? Like, I knew you when you were in diapers.
Said
I was in
you-
diapers
goes-
also, but
damn it. Black Sky looks at you and goes, what was that? What was that sound? Sora, Bass, what was that sound? What do you see on the monitors?
listen, BS. And he says BS, knowing that it annoys him. Listen, BS, you focus on getting the schematics. We'll worry about this. Yeah, we'll worry about this when we have to.
He looks at you and she goes, those were gunshots. It sounded like it was coming from Quandra's bar.
Yeah,
You got to do
like I
something.
said. And Bass is kind of like looking around the room, at the obvious points of entry and exit. Fan room, air ducts, whatever, to see if there's another way out of this location. You better hop to it.
Fine then. Go in my locker. Get the station approved weapons. You got to go
Okay.
help Quandra.
Let's see. He doesn't really hold ill will towards Contra, but would he put his neck out for her? Fuck it. We're all station people. Fine.
Right.
All right. Yeah.
I think if you
Yeah.
were born on the station and
Yeah.
you saw these black ops guys coming running into Quandra's bar, you don't really know why they're doing that. You've
Yeah.
heard gunshots twice. You also are probably vehemently anti-corp.
Yeah.
And this kind of maneuver, you would figure, could easily be a corporation. And so I'm not certain how Bass would do that, but he was born here. So it is his place. It might not be his home turf, but the station is home.
All right. So after hearing that, I would basically say to Sura, since this is our home, I'm like, go rile up the boys.
She looks at you, she gets out of her chair and she goes, all right. She looks around the corner and she goes, well, you take Black Sky's weapons. Black Sky, you got a back entrance? And Black Sky goes, sure as shit I do. Quandra's my best friend. She looks at Bass and goes, look, I got a submachine gun, a shotgun. Take your choice. We'll take the back entrance.
Okay. Being he's not really combat focused, I think he's gonna take the one with the most bullets. So
The
I think the
shotgun's a
submachine
heavy-
gun.
Okay, submachine gun. And Blue Sky, who's Black Sky, who's obviously not a combat person because he's really thin, got this shot off side by side double barrel 6 gauge shotgun. He goes, all right, ready. Sura jumps out in the hallway and you hear the door opening to the stairwell and close, click. And he looks at you, Bass, and he goes, all right, Bass, lead the way. We'll go through the back way. It's a little tight, but I take it often. He's a lot thinner than you.
Okay, but before all that happens, did he? Wait, we're all exiting the space, just so I can understand.
Well, so Sura is going to leap out into the corridor hallway and race towards the door and go down to the Teamsters to let them know something's happening.
Yeah.
Black Sky is going to the back of his place. Underneath his desk, there's a large fan opening that connects his space with the Quandra's bar, the Rowan Genistat.
Okay, got it. So Sora's going to basically get help,
Right.
and we're going to Quandra. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Did he get the schematics?
Yeah, he just kind of looks at you. Said, if you say, "Did you get the schematics?" He looks at you, and goes, "What the hell? Get moving!"
All right. At this point, I guess there's other pressing matters, so I don't think he'd press it.
About the time that Bass and Sura are entering Black Sky's dream haven, Harm is coming out of the surgical bay with Dr. Addis. Dr. Addis is slapping you on the back and says, you feel just as good as new, at least by tomorrow, Harm. Promises. And if not, here. He gives you like three big rolled up cigarettes of blue leaf. Smoke one of these before bed. Smoke one of these with orange juice in the morning, and smoke one of these with eggs or whatever, toast in the afternoon, and you'll be right.
Thank you very much, Dr. Addis.
And you enter his hydroponics bay, and what does Max do? Are we just waiting for your friend to come? Dr. Addis asks.
Are you speaking of Max?
No, with Harm. Dr. Addis is talking to Harm. Are we just waiting for your friend Max and Oni to come back?
I do believe that Max was on his way to get Oni, but I will go look for him.
Okay. He goes, well, don't drink too much, though. You had a lot of blue leaf, and those two don't mix very well.
Good to know, thank you. I will see you, hopefully, with Max and Oni
You
soon.
get to the opening to the hydro hut, and you see the tail end of 6 black-clad figures with opaque helmets, automatic weapons. Harm, being a Marine, knows exactly that they're kitted out, and what that means. He can tell that they're professionals. They have no insignia. They're completely in black. They have weapons that are tied to their upscreen in their helmet, and they move efficiently into the bar where the commander went in. You're standing at the doorway when you see maybe the last two of them enter the bar, and then you hear brr, brr, brr. A few minutes later, as you're standing there, Dr. Addis goes, Max, Harm, what was that? That sounded like gunfire. Well, I know my way around gunfire. What's going on?
It was indeed gunfire. I'm trying to think, how much do I want to not freak this guy out? Good question. Okay, so out of character, I want to make sure these guys are,
Professionals.
yeah, like, I kind of meant like in terms of like professional like mercenaries or professional like military. Is
Well-
there like a difference, or is there like
Harm would know that they're more than just mercenaries. Mercenaries tend to wear, they may be kitted out just as well, but they're also 1s, 2s, and 3s. They're more solo individuals that have come together as a group. And so their outfitting tends to not be so cohesive. Whereas this is either corporation or high-speed mercenaries. Now, Harm was also with Dr. Rizal when he turned over the bioweapon for fuel. And I think Harm would immediately recognize that these look exactly the same as the ones that were standing behind the commander. And the commander has also went into that bar for some purpose, which he cautioned you all about not intervening in strangers' business.
fair enough? Okay. I'll just say they're professionals. You stay here. I'm gonna go get my friends. If you see any of them, no, you didn't.
What do you mean they're professionals? What do they look like?
All black. Very much like all what you'd expect about like.
They're damn corpos, that's what they are. They've come to take us over. Screw them. And he opens up this locker and he takes out Kevlar and starts squeezing into it. Here, take this. I got a seeker rifle. He grabs like two like things, says, let's roll.
Dr. Addis, I do not want to get involved with your death wish.
Well, fine, step aside. Where did they go? I gotta defend the station.
Bar.
Here, protect the
It's
Hydra hut. Whatever you want to do. Where did they go? Tell
The
Dr. Addis.
bar.
The bar.
The
Quandra's
bar.
in danger. Quandra and the station is danger from corporation thugs. He straps on his Kevlar and he got these two submachine guns. All right, step out of the way.
You to the bar. I'm getting my friend. Like,
Fine then, I'll cover you. But take this seeker rifle just in case.
okay.
All right. He kind of skeeks out and he shadows along the side of the wall, Harm. Like he's been trained to do this before, despite being Dr. Addis. He tucks into the one side. He's on the side, like scooping around. He goes, all right, go on, Harm. Go find your friend.
I'll kind of just like try to like sneakily like go past the thing, and if someone notices me, I'll just be like staring straight ahead, not looking at whatever the hell they're doing in the bar, like minding my own damn business.
You scoot by the bar entrance. You might look in there really quickly because the door has been mostly shut, but not completely shut. There's a little sliver of light, but you hear a lot of noise. The music is still going and the lights are still on. But you sneak by and you go back towards the airlock leading to the docking bay. You probably see Max's feet first as he's tucked up in the corner. You see Max is like tucked up in the corner. I don't know if he's still wiggling or not, but Harm, as you run up to the side, you see Max has been shoved up into a corner right outside the airlock leading to the docking bay. What does Harm do?
I'll kind of just lift an eyebrow and be like, Max, what kind of half-assed or wiggle did you get yourself into? And just kind of like cut the zip ties from like his wrists.
Harm, how long has it been? Where have you been? There's people invading the station. I think they're real. I think I'm starting to come down from the what was it called? Blue what?
Blue leaf.
Blue leaf. Maybe? I don't know.
Okay, first off, they very much are real. Secondly, you know that guy that I recognized when we came in?
The guy from the airlock, yeah.
Yes, the guy from the airlock. The guys in black that went into the bar are with him. I'm not messing with that. That is how we die today.
But what about the station? We need the repairs for the ship. We need
I'm aware, but if we go in without a plan, we're as cooked as a roast chicken.
What about the doctor? Does he have a plan?
He went in all half-cocked with a gun. I don't know what his plan is. And I'm pretty sure he's high off his nuts.
Well, to be fair, that does make two of us. I can't remember. Out of character, did we bring anything in as far as weapons, or did we just go
No,
in
you put
with-
them in the lockers in the praxis.
locker.
Yeah, because you weren't allowed to take
That's right.
weapons in. So you came in, you took off your habitat gear,
Yeah, the
your-
habitat gear.
and you put them in a locker, and you put your weapons in the locker, and then it's keyed to your biosignature or fingerprint, and then you promptly went through infection control, essentially, and then came through the airlock into the where you are now. You can see the airlock door of where you came out from the praxis bar and infection control, essentially.
We have to get our stuff. We have to get our gear. We can't leave the station without Dr. Resolve using the medical bay. Either way, or Resolve, sorry.
I was
Oni.
about to say, unless
Oni.
you remember, it's that shot with the blue leaf, he's dead.
Harm has a seeker rifle that was given to her by Dr. Addis, who has dual submachine guns. Obviously, he's not with you at the moment, but Harm does have a weapon.
Dude,
In theory, how long would it take us to get to our stuff and then back? Would it be like 15 minutes, or if it's right there at the airlock, probably like 10 minutes or something?
Right, if you transited through the airlock, as long as no one messed with you, it's not that far. 2 airlock doors to the praxis bar.
I don't know. You're such a devious GM. I don't know if I trust it. Max will say, we have to get to the bar. We cannot let the station fall. And this, again, if the station falls, Oni won't be able to synthesize a cure Oni will die, and we can't afford to lose another crew member.
Fair enough. Live fast, die young, I guess. And then I'll just like turn around and like
So
head
you're
back to the bar. Like,
so you're going back to the bar.
yeah.
Yeah,
Unless
I think
you have a better idea.
All
Like,
right.
I'd
That
like
won't
to
take-
get my pistol, or my slug revolver, but there's no doors on the airlock, and I can't see what's in there, and I'm afraid there's going to be more goons on the other side of it. So
Okay.
wait, theoretically, if Dr. Addis had those weapons, he might have more. Theoretically. Should we check first before going all gung-ho? Or do you trust me to do this?
do you think he would have some stashed? If he had 2 submachine guns and one to give to you, then surely he might have something laying around. And then I
Alright,
think
let's
at
have
that
a
point
crack
Max
at
will
it,
kind
and
of
then...
look around, and are there like any kind of like loose piping or something
No.
that Max can?
This
No.
isn't the Bishop Gambit, for goodness sake.
Hey, that's home.
Okay, let's be
don't dog it
honest.
like that.
a lot of stuff is not the Bishop's Gambit. Like,
So Max and Harm are going to,
it's a shit
Quickly,
home, but it's home.
with care, thread their way back towards the capsule module and the Lorengen is that bar, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I can't just pull a pipe off the wall.
Okay. So you get to the T intersection and go down this little bit of a ramp or downward movement into the main hallway of the capsule module. You see Dr. Addis post up on the side of the door with his 2 submachine guns raised up, and he sees you and he nods and he looks over and he sees Max and he gives you a thumbs up, and then he puts one of his submachine guns on the door and he kicks it over to you, and it goes across the tile floor, and he goes,
Max will go. Just kind of reach down and because Max is, like I said, well, he's probably got what, like, this has been an hour maybe at this point.
yeah, roughly 45.
Yeah.
You've
Okay,
been
so
tied
he's-
up for a little bit. I mean, relative terms, I'll just say it's been an hour.
So he's coming down a little bit. He's either coming down or it's just starting to peak. One or the other.
What I'll do is let me put a submachine gun on your I put a submachine gun on Max's in case you have to use it. I don't know if you're going to need to use it. I'm gonna put a Seeker Smart Rifle on Harm's, and Bass took a submachine gun. Oh, you got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So Bass, you're leading Black Sky through the small conduit. You have to bend over a little bit. You got your submachine gun next to you. Bass has got his hands on your right butt cheek, and he's just like pushing you through. Keep moving. Be quiet. Keep moving. There's gonna be a
So, easy with the hands there, buddy.
oh, okay. He kind of slaps you a little bit. But I gotta make sure, and then he like takes his hands away, and you hear him cock the shotgun. And you come through a kind of, the conduit opens a little bit, and there's a open ventilation cover that's open probably 12 inches. It's wide open because Black Sky comes out of this often. Bass, you're in the lead, and you peek out maybe across through the opening, and you see 6 black-clad figures and a older gentleman who is dressed in Teamster outfits that's just way too clean, way too pressed. They can't be Teamster outfits. And he's got his hands on the back of Hunter's neck, and she's, partially kneeling next to him, and he's got these 6 black-clad, black-helmeted, opaque visors. All of them have automatic weapons. Everyone else in the bar who happened to be there are face down on the floor, and you look across from them, and the older gentleman in Teamster clothes that are obviously not true Teamster clothes because they're far too clean and pressed. You look across, and you see the open door of the bar, and Dr. Addis peeks around the corner just at that time. He's got this machine gun, and he looks at you, and for some reason, his eyes meet you, and he goes, and he tucks back. Now, Bass, you know Dr. Addis. That man is always half-baked, but you've heard rumors about him. He wasn't always at the station. He probably came to the station when you were, 7, 9, 10, something like that, and set up shop. He immediately developed a reputation among the whole station of being someone you can go to get fixed and cured. And he may hum and haw, and he may try to push biologics on you, but damn it, when a Teamster really needs it, Dr. Addis is there to fix a broken leg, get into someone's chest cavity with shrapnel. Like, he's saved a lot of Teamsters' lives. He's a crazy dude, but still, you see him giving you the thumbs up and this wild look on his face, like, this is where I need to be.
Out of character is I feel like Dr. Addis is the level 20 adventurer that retired to be the barkeep.
There's some rumor that he was, prior military, military surgeon, on drop ships, that kind of stuff. Some sort of clandestine background, but he doesn't seem it. He's just, leaf blowing in the wind half the time.
Yeah. I look at Black
Sometimes
Sky.
those
I'm like,
characters who have the wild backstories, but are like 3 sheets to the wind, are the most fun. Like,
yeah. So I kind of look at Black Sky. I'm like, who the hell called who the hell called Dr. Addis?
Black Sky goes, Dr. Addis is out there. Well, shit, that's great. There's 3 of us then. Well, with Dr. Addis, maybe that makes 5. Well, with you and me, maybe that just makes 3.
I agree. We need to wait for the rest of the crew to get here.
Oh, so we're just gonna sit here and wait, all right?
Well, we're not in the most opportune time. I kind of look around because it doesn't look like. Is there more advantageous? Go ahead.
You guys are outside
when
the
he goes
bar.
to look out, can
Right.
Max kind of peek out and lock eyes with Boss?
I think so. You haven't met, but maybe both of you, like, your heads come together, like you both decide to peek out at the same time. Dr. Addis looks at you and goes, and then
we'll look at.
I look back at Black Sky. I'm like, who the hell is that?
Or she's kind of doing like a headstand or something, just kind of like upside down, looking through the door, like at it.
The heads just pop up like one or the other, all 3 at the same time.
And then I'll look over to where the doctor was at, and then look back at Boss, and then go.
Dr. Addis, Dr. Addis looks
Jesus
over at
hell.
you. He pushes Max out of the door frame and tucks back and goes, and then he quickly peeks over at Boss, and he goes, and then he looks at Max and he goes, and Harm, and he goes, okay, on the count of 3. Ready?
No, wait. What? On the count of
1.
3 or?
And then he kicks open the door. And, all right, you motherfuckers. What are you doing here? Bass, you're back in there. You might have tucked back a little bit, and then you peek out and you see Dr. Addis flow through the door, rake the ceiling with his submachine gun and point it at him. He's wearing this kind of Kaftan dark, and he's obviously dressed incredibly peculiar. His mismatched colors, and he's got a slipper on one foot and a boot on the other, and his hair is all wild. And you just see him rake the ceiling and then point it at the guys and make this declaration. What does Bass do?
So as he fires in the air, I'm assuming that's basically a huge distraction. I think he would try to move into a more advantageous position, maybe because the way I picture it, we come out of this air vent and we're huddled up against some kind of coverage or whatever. We're basically, me and Black Sky were kind of stuck there. So in my mind, tactically speaking, I don't think we both want to be firing from the same position because it would easily be flanked. So I would try to maneuver in a more advantageous position so that we can attack from multiple sides.
I think you could step out of the air vent. You know, there's multiple tables. Quandra's bar, the Rowan Genizdat, is high neon light, glass black tables, cushy seats, proper dealing tables. Like, it's a pretty poshy place because that's the way she is. And there's like even a stage. I think you could step out as he rakes the ceiling and all eyes turn towards Dr. Addis. You could step out and take up position behind a table, behind a chair, anything like that.
Yeah, I'll do that to take a position behind another piece of cover, and maybe, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to imagine the room where the positions are, but if there are, I don't know, see a guard that's like out of position, that's not paying attention, maybe I could try to do something.
Okay.
Is that possible?
Make a speed check, probably with Rimwise. You're trying to sneak in there.
Yeah. Oh, not good.
So as you step out of the air conduit, you duck in, duck out, step out, over. How does Bass fail? What happens?
So I want to fail in a different way and not give away my position, and then I hope that you'll let me
Okay.
allow it, right?
Yeah.
So, as I'm like moving from cover to cover, like I like clip, say, the corner of a desk, and I drop the gun, but I'm able to make it to cover.
Okay. You drop the gun and maybe shimmy a few
Yeah.
on your knees behind a chair or something, and you're kind of tucked in there sitting, and you see the submachine gun, 10 feet away from you, like
It's like shit, and it's like, like if I was to go grab it, like I would expose myself now that the distraction is done. But I'm in position, I just don't have the gun.
Okay. Harm, you're standing there. Dr. Addis pushes Max out, and then he looks at you and says 3, like on the count of 3, but he only gets the 1. Because you know what happens. And then he waltzes through the door and peppers this guy to the roof and, shouts out about these corporations. And what does Max do is Dr. Addis boldly walks through the door of the bar.
As Max gets pushed and he begins to open fire, Max is going to kind of glance at Harm and then look at the doc who's just spraying the ceiling with bullets, and give Harm a nod and step out with a doctor and point a submachine gun at the men in black.
Okay. Harm, Dr. Addis flows into the room, and Max follows in after him. He probably floats in too at his given state. They're both light on their feet. What does Harm do is Dr. Addis and Max, one of those who can use a gun and the other is questionable. What does Harm do as they enter the room?
Harm will just shake his head and be like, well, if we're going for mutually assured destruction, might as well go out with a bang and a couple less dead people. Might as well just join in, like walk to the door.
Dr. Addis sprays the roof. Max comes over, walks into his right. Harm walks into his left, and you see probably Bass behind them because all their eyes are thrown towards Dr. Addis. You see this other figure, come out of this air vent and then promptly lose it, drops his gun and goes sliding across the floor behind a table and a chair. So someone's behind him. You see another guy look around the corner through the air vent and tuck back in. The commander looks around and sighs. He's got his hand on Quandra's neck, and he sees you, Harm, and he goes, well, so much about staying out of other people's business. You should know better than this, Marine. This isn't going to go well. Put down your weapons, and we will leave with this individual.
Well, given my life, much hasn't gone my way particularly well in the first place, so I'll take my odds with that.
So you put down your weapon and get on your knees? Or are you saying you're going to take your odds with...
I'll take my odds with death. Basically, I don't give a shit. I have contingency plans on characters. I don't care.
He
I make peace with my death ages ago. The fact that I've lasted this long is a miracle.
He looks over at Max and he tracks your face, and then he looks down and he goes, "This android has been shot. Which one of you shot him?" And you see one of the black figures go, and he goes, "You should have tapped him out. Now look what the problem is. Got an android, this crazy fool here, and a Marine. Damn it to hell. We just want to leave with this prisoner. You should put down your weapons." Dr. Addis says, "Hells no. This is Siesta 3. What does Max do?
When he begins to shoot, Max is going to try to find or look at Boss and like try to signal to him like maybe now's your chance. You know,
Yeah, I was gonna
try
say
to reach for the weapon.
I kind of like scooch as close as I can without exposing myself, and then when I hear the second shots, I'm like, try to reach it.
You crawl out there and pick up your submachine gun you dropped.
Yeah, and if it'll give him an extra like advantage or whatever, if he has to roll for it, Max will kind of follow suit and just sporadically just start spraying.
You see the commander go, "So noisy." Boss,
Hey man, an android, a crazy dude, and a Marine. You really want to go up against that? Like,
boss, what you do is crazy Dr. Addis and this bleeding android pepper the roof with submachine gun bullets.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go for my gun.
Okay, so you crawl over and you pick up your gun. What do you do after that?
I guess right now we're just trying to buy time. They're not moving. After I pick up my gun, since I was out in the open, I get to probably better survey. Like, what is the numbers that we're talking
There's
about?
six
How many
black-
are armed?
6 black-clad figures in obviously high kit gear. They've got helmets that have opaque shields. They probably have weapons that are attached to them electronically, and the one older figure in obviously 2 well laundered teamster outfits. So there's 7 total, and Quandra is kind of in the middle, being held by the man in the teamster outfit.
You know, all that talk that we had about grenades, now would have been the perfect time for one.
yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to kill everyone in that circle, yeah.
Well, I don't know,
Addis,
Quandra. I'm just
Max,
trying to save the
they're
station.
cause a distraction. Arms there just to look pretty because he's jack shit at intimidating this dude in teamster gear. That's not like that's too clean. Like,
So at this moment, I don't think Bass will do anything because the odds are not in our favor.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that we basically he'll act when he has to buy more time because he's hoping that Suoro will come back with the Teamsters and then the odds will swing in our favor. But basically, his whole thing is buy time. So he's like, basically, you know, right now there are 3 against 6, right? In their minds, if we show our hand too early, we may end up killing Quandra in the gunfight because she's in the center.
Sure. So you just pick up your weapon, but stay in position
No, I
Qui-
think, yeah, it's you stay in position, yeah, covered. Yeah.
quietly.
Yeah.
The commander lets go of Quandra and then pulls out a pistol, lays it up against the side of her head, and
Oh, I
looks
thought that was
at-
already happening.
no, he just had her by the back of the neck.
Okay.
He didn't have a weapon out yet, and lays it up against the side of her head, and looks up at Max, Harm, and Dr. Addis, and he says, "Now, this is either going to go 2 ways. Well, maybe 3, but we won't talk about that one. We can walk out. You all sidle up to the edge over there, and no one will get hurt. Or, hell, this is a botch job anyways, but at least I get rid of the prisoner, and we just throw down." Looks over at Harm, he goes, "Which one of those you're picking?"
hell, I'm more tempted to ask what use this prisoner has for you before we go to town at this hack fest.
He looks at you and he goes, she's a high-level thief. It's wanted by the core government. A bounty on her has been put out for 200 million credits. Harm, make an intellect check with probably wilderness survival. It could be military, but we'll give wilderness survival. Yeah. You could tell right away that he's lying. That when he lays a gun against her head, for all practical purposes, you track to the gun right away, and you know that style of gun. You know that 9mm type style, single case, and your eyes immediately track to the safety trigger that's just above the trigger, the safety button. And there should be a little red ring there that should be easily be seen against the black. And his finger isn't also in the trigger. It's outside along the side, which is a nice safe place to be if you don't want to hurt anyone. And so when he spouts off this thing about her being a high-level thief, it just doesn't flow. There's a little catch there, like he's doing it on the fly. It's really good, but he's doing it on the fly. And Harm, you get a sense that he's not there to, whatever is happening, he's not telling you the truth. And he has no intent and purposes of pulling that trigger. His finger's not in the hole and the safety's still on. You can see it right away. Like your eyes track immediately and you are like, yep. If he'd have to put the safety and then put his finger in and it'd shoot. Like it was in his holster without the safety on. And he could have just flicked off the safety as he put it against her head. It just didn't happen. It just looks off to Harm and his Marine training.
Now, my question out of character is, do I want to call him on his bullshit?
I'm gonna say yes, because if you don't, I think Max might.
Max probably has no idea. Like he just sees the gun.
Max has no idea, but Max is definitely gonna call him on the thievery.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, even like if I don't as a person generally call out the bullshit in my life, I'm like, I sure as hell will do it again. Like I don't give a shit. Like,
so Harm, this is bullshit. That whoever Quandra is, she's important to him not to be dead. That's probably the takeaway. Like throwing down, number one, or you guys sidling out and letting them take her, that's the best choice. But throwing down and shooting her and then throwing down just isn't a viable option. You could see it in his face, probably his mechanism. Like he tries to hide it from Harm, but Harm's been around the military too long to know that there's something off about it. He can't or is unwilling to harm Quandra. That's not part of the pact.
Harm will probably like use his stance like ever so slightly, smile and be like, I didn't exactly catch you for a liar.
He kind of looks at you, goes, what do you mean? I'm not lying. We're already here to die. Just thought our service calls for us.
Yeah, well, you sure as hell don't want her dead.
He kind of eyes flick to her and flicks back, and you see his lips get really thin. He looks around at the other ones. You see him count in his head. On Dr. Addis. He lingers on for a little bit, and then Harm, and then he slowly turns around and he probably clocks Bass sitting on his knees. The rest of the guys didn't see Bass at all. He kind of looks and he goes, oh shit.
That's right. And I stand up. You're surrounded.
Yeah. Black Sky takes that moment to burst through with his gun. Yeah, I'm ready too. And he looks around. He goes, damn, round it up, boys. And he looks at Quandra and he goes, there'll be another day, another bounty. For today, you get to pour drinks. And he looks back at Harm and Max and goes, we're leaving now.
Pleasure not knowing ya.
Quandra gets up and kind of looks at him and sneaks off to the side a little bit and falls down into a chair. She's still in the circle, but she's maybe 3 or 4 feet. And he looks up at the others. He goes, round it up, boys and girls. Back to the ship. And he looks at Dr. Addis, Max, and Harm and says, you all aren't going to have a problem with that now, are you? We could go back to number 2, just throw down our luck.
As long as your ass doesn't give my ass any more trouble, we're fine.
Max,
I don't know you and you don't know me.
right? He looks over his shoulder at Bass. See him shrug a little bit. Damn station, too many guns. He rounds out and he lets like two people walk out, two of the black clad walk out, and he walks out and he stops at Harm and he goes, I remember you. I'd help you if a bounty gets put on your head. I'll collect that for free. And he steps out of the
Wish
bar.
I didn't know you, but I sure as hell won't forget now.
And they step out of the bar. The last black clad soldier just closes the door, and you see Quandra lay back at her chair and go, Bass, what do you do?
That's right. Your knight in shining armor has come to save the day. And he just hands her the submachine gun.
She looks
Yeah.
at it, she goes, I don't like these things. And she puts it next to you, like she's disassembled the bottom gear, taken out the top rail, and puts it in 3 pieces on the table. Looks at you, Bass.
Don't
you
look
can
at me.
drink
That's
for-
not mine.
Drink for a day, free. But that's it.
If I were her, I would have shot you in the leg, so count yourself lucky.
Harm, what do you do as they leave the bar?
Kind of just shake my head and mutter, nothing but trouble ahead anyway, so that's 2 more things.
So I'm curious. So I'd sit down with Quandra. I'm like, what the fuck was that all about?
She looks at you, Bass, and someone brings her over this tall, skinny bottle that's got this blue, clear liquid and 5 or 6 small little glasses. And she pours around and she looks at you and goes, fucking family, Bass. Taps my back.
Throw one back too.
Can't ever leave them, even if they hate you.
What was that? Your pops?
Hell no. I've never seen that guy before.
What gives?
Well, family doesn't like you leaving, especially my sort of family.
Shit, the family that you need is all here on the station.
Damn right there is. He pours another round.
Let's take another swig.
She tells you, this story of, she doesn't really go into details, Bass. You just get a sense that whoever she is a core runaway of some nature, but it's not as simple as that she left some broken marriage or broken home or a difficult place or difficult job. Like she left riches or a difficult family. The way she says family isn't in the mob sense. Bass gets an idea that it is relations, relatives, that type of family. And whatever her family does has attempted to have her escorted back to the core systems. As they leave, do you do anything specific?
I think Max is just gonna feel relieved. I think at this point it's probably been like 30 minutes, and now he's for sure on the come down. And
Yeah.
he's finally starting to feel like a little more himself and a little more aware. And at that point, he's gonna kind of look at his leg and go, "Oh, that's not good. Harm, we may have a problem."
Yeah, Dr. Addis comes over to you and
Yeah,
goes,
think.
damn it, you're bleeding.
Surprised you weren't pissing your pants while you were doing the worm, my friend.
I was doing the worm. What?
He,
I don't know what the hell you were trying to do when you were doing it, but you were doing it. So you were tied.
My communication.
literally.
I was trying to get my communications to you.
Well, that would explain why you were doing the worm hog tied on the floor. Then,
Dr. Addis digs in his front pocket. He has like 2 pencils and a pocket protector, pens, and digs in there and he pulls out and he looks at his hands. Good. A red one, a green one, and a blue one. He hands them out. I suggest a red one. Android Max, before we go back to the surgical station,
What is the red one?
the red one will make you feel better until we have surgery.
I don't think I need any more drugs.
Well, you're bleeding out. It'll stop that at least. It'll help your systems.
take the drugs before I shove it down your throat, please.
You could just take one of them. You could
Aggressive
choose
love here, dude.
the green one, the red one, or the blue one.
Max will kind of take the red one and he'll. Is it a pill or is it a shot?
Yeah, it's a little pill. They're all little pills.
Okay.
One's an oval pill, and one's like a triangular pill, and one's a hexagon. The red one's triangular.
Okay. Max will take the red triangular pill and he'll kind of notice as he's looking around, he'll notice that some of the people have like the real dark beer, the oil.
That's down. That's not in Quandra's bar. This is an upscale bar. She doesn't serve
this is an
oil.
upscale bar. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was just a universal beer for the
But
station.
if you want a chaser, I'm sure someone would bring you something.
Yeah, Max will ask the Quandra for any kind of chaser.
Yeah, Dr. Addis says, hell yeah, you don't want to dry swallow that. You get stuck in your esophagus and it erodes through to your pit. Trust me, you don't want to do that. He goes behind the bar and he goes, Quandra, I'm getting him a beer. She goes, whatever. She keeps drinking with Bass. He brings you over this, light ale with a little top on it and a skull and crossbones. This is a good vintage. Here, take that with the red pill.
I appreciate it, Doctor. I have a little bit of cotton mouth from our last experience. So maybe this will help.
Hey man, if you don't finish that, I will.
He'll toss the pill in the back of his throat and then chase it with a little bit of the beer.
Yeah, Harm, as you're watching, it takes about 35 seconds. Well, maybe 33, but Dr. Addis kind of counts fast, so he gets to 35. And then you see Max's eyes roll back up at the top of his head. He tries to hand you the beer in the meantime, and Dr. Addis grabs it from his hand and he keels over flat. And Dr. Addis looks at him and he goes, well, shit. I guess I should have told him to take the blue pill.
Nice. I swear, Max is always passed out, almost every session that I play with him.
About
I
that
may try to
time,
just kill him off at this point and start a new one. I don't know. I'm
about that
conflicted.
time, Sura bursts in with 10, 15 teamsters. They're packing heavy. They got sawed-off shotguns, high-powered rifles, and submachine guns. And Sura bursts into the bar and sees Bass and everyone around, and she's moving her gun really quick. And she goes, Bass, what happened?
Sit down, Sura. You missed the fireworks.
Oh, all right. She comes and sits back and she looks and she goes, I like this stuff. She grabs Quandra's thing and pours around. Did you get the schematics? She says in a low voice, we got a thing to do.
Oh yeah, about that. Let's go take care of that. And I basically get up from the desk. Quandra, we'll have to talk more, but just know that me and the boys, and I'm talking about, I just use the term to describe the Teamsters. Me and the boys we got your back. And I kind of tell them hey, she's wanted by this mercenary group, and we all have to protect our own on the station.
Sura says, hell yeah. She puts her arm underneath you and drags you up out of your chair. You're both probably wobbly a little bit at this time. And she goes, this is a fine time to fix well, you know what we have to do.
Yeah. I look at Black Sky and and I look at him knowing that it's going to annoy him. BS, you're with me.
Shit, he says. Right, we got that thing to do. He doesn't say it either because there are other people around. And you three get up at Black Sky goes towards the conduit and says, well, come on, let's get back to my place. And he goes
As they leave, I'll call out, don't pull any BS on them, BS.
And Dr. Addis looks at Harm and goes, well, can you help me carry him? Feeling a little drained at the moment. And he takes the blue and the green pill, the blue and green pill that's left, and he goes,
I'll give him the gun and then fireman carry Max to the
all right. So Dr. Addis and Harm and Max go back towards the hydro hut. Max is unconscious, and Sura and Bass and Black Sky go back to deal with the virus bomb. And we'll end it there for today. Hope you guys had fun. I thought it was fun.
I
had fun. I kind of wish that we were in an incident together and we still didn't connect.
We did. We gave everybody a thumbs up. We connected.
I was like, dang it.
Or was
Could
doing
get our stories to interlink.
Yeah, I have to tap dance a little bit when a player.
Yeah, I know it's difficult trying to bring a crew together.
Yeah, I had other perhaps things planned. Bandy was supposed to be here, and I'll have to message him, and so I have to rearrange stuff. Like, okay, now what happens? And it worked out pretty well. It
Yeah.
would have worked out if you went to practice bar too. But I thought it was fun. I only plan so much. Like, I don't plan a lot. I just plan the opening and then just see where it goes, see what happens. But I thought it was fun to establish what the Siesta 3 station is like. I thought that was a pretty fun thing to do. And I did like the way you guys played. And
I will say, the last time, Shark, you worked on any kind of virus bombs or biological weapons, it did not go well. So I am a wee bit nervous.
Different. Like,
None of that yet. The only bomb that's going off is what he's doing to his body.
right. Hopefully you had fun. A lot of that I'm ad-libbing, and so if you had any problems with any sections, I did bring other things in there: alcoholism, drug use, hopefully in a light enough way with particular characterization that it didn't bother you. But if it is, you could always send me messages. That is kind of a Mothership in the rule section. I didn't necessarily have that plan, but we're just role-playing through that part. I did have fun with you all interacting with the NPCs, because then it allows me just to create them on the fly. I had a lot of fun with Max and Harm meeting Dr. Addis and then going on their separate ways and that sort of thing, and how they regrouped at the end. And I never know what you're going to do. And so when Max goes to Omega Church and Max decides to fix his arm, those are all fun moments. And bringing Bass in, I had an idea, but we create those things together as we move through, and Bass becomes part of that. He's going to have a lot of knowledge since he grows up there, and but I had a lot of fun playing through that part.
Yeah, I
If
had
anything,
no
it established the lore of the station a lot more in my head. Kind of get a better feel of what's going on, and
I didn't send you too much because not that I necessarily wanted to be a surprise, but I didn't want to flood you with a bunch of stuff that you felt obligatory to read a whole bunch about this, and I felt we could just develop it as we went. Sometimes that requires more exposition from me, like I have to talk a little bit more and add stuff, but it does allow me to tell you the background. Hopefully I did that fairly well.
Yeah, like I said, I think understanding the situation, or at least the lore and the background of where we're at, made the story and the play rich for me. I prefer it that way, to be honest, to develop it and see it on the fly and kind of like picture it in my mind's eye what's occurring. So definitely enjoyed it. And sorry I cut you off, Aaron.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I didn't I was kind of like 50-50 on going to the church, but then when I failed the body check, I was like, well, I mean, I guess if Max is feeling kind of out of body, then yeah, I think he would kind of just wander off and go to the church maybe just to kind of see what it was about.
Yeah, and your decision to put your ear up against the airlock really decides what's happened, because you had a choice. You could have just said, oh no, I'm going to go back down the hallway I'm not going to mess with that, go to the Omega Church as fast as possible, and that would have worked out differently. You go up to the airlock and I think, well, they're coming through, so
yeah.
And then the play is a little bit different.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, he's out of body, he's paranoid, he's
right.
Like I said, station rats. I mean, that's the furthest thing from his mind is a giant man in black with a submachine gun walking through the airlock door.
But then you do that little quip about shutting systems down, rebooting. And I thought it was hilarious. You're spoofing them, trying to lie to them, like they're all looking at you like, the toaster went off.
Yeah, why not, right? I mean, got to do something.
Quick thinking.
Right. Now I'm running a 50K